I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of My Violet Tendencies. I am Marvelous Matt Nix here, Purple Poppy. I'm hoping that the technical difficulties that I've had in the past as far as the video cutting out, I think we figured it out. I think we're going to be okay. But I'm excited today. My guest, one of the original Freelance Wrestling Academy students, Sean Galway.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Irish Stallion Sean Galway, the Betting Bronco, the Moneyline Mustang, the Parlay Pony, and of course, as you all know, the Irish Stallion. And I'm here today with my good friend Matt Nix, the person who got me into freelance. Matt Nix.
Yeah. That's a good starting point at this, actually.
This is like one of my favorite stories. I tell it all the time to people, but like how I got into freelance and how I got into the wrestling business. To give a little bit of background, like I've been part of freelance now for 5 years, 5.5 years. I started at the academy, like you said. I was part of the very first class of incoming students with Isaiah Velasquez and Bryce Benjamin in November of 2018. And the way I kind of like got hooked up with you guys was like I was 24 years old at the time, and I was kind of like I was working my first like big boy job in advertising. You know, I was working downtown, but hated my life kind of thing where
suit and tie kind of gig.
Well, like, you know, like Sunday dress clothy thing. Like
okay, so not that serious.
Not that serious, but I mean, still kind of like hated wearing like, you know, nice shirt every day, and I have the same job, by the way.
He's like, I still hate my job.
I still hate my But basically, like getting into that job, I was like, you know, within weeks, I was like, my God, like, is this it for me? Like, is this because I was searching for so long for a wrestling school, and it was so hard to find like a reputable one in Chicago because it was hard to know like who was a good trainer and who wasn't, because like there wasn't like a really good place to check.
Yeah, I guess
know somebody.
Yeah, you didn't have the frame of reference, or like you say, you didn't have the connections in the business yet to be like, where should I go? Like I feel like a lot of stories of like people finding wrestling schools are literally like they go to a show and they talk to a wrestler there.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of what happened.
That's kind of what happened.
Well, and the wrestler I talked to was Colt Cabana. So like I had gone to, it was kind of one of those things where I was kind of almost like getting to the point where I was like, you know, I'm 24. Like maybe this isn't just gonna happen for me. You know, it is what it is. I guess, you know, I'll live my life, whatever. And this is like kind of when wrestling was still kind of like 2018. WWE was like in a rough spot. Like, you know, product wasn't great. My passion was kind of like at a all-time low. But then like I had been following all the hype of like All In and stuff, and like the whole summer long, I was like one of the last people I think to actually get an actual ticket like on that day, like when they went on sale, because like they sold out in like 29 minutes, and I didn't get my ticket till like the 28th minute or something.
Oh,
like that.
Dang.
Yeah, I was
sweating in the queue.
Yeah, and when I got to the Sears Arena later that year, like I was in the top row. Like the very last row.
Oh, dang. So you were like back up against the wall.
Yeah,
like
straight up. Like
hanging from the rafters.
On the hard cam side. So, I mean, and it was a great view, but I mean, like, seeing that show All In, and like, it, like, if I didn't go to that show, I don't know if, like, I'd be here sitting in this room right now, because, like, it just kind of, like, it reignited the passion in me, like, and it was just one of those things where I was like, God, I can't go through the rest of my life without at least trying this. And I was really scared. So, like, the next day I went to, the Warrior Wrestling show.
Yeah, that's right.
Chicago Heights. And I knew Colt Cabana was going to be there. And I was like, God, I just got to get the nuts to like go up and talk to him about this. So went up to him and stuff. And I asked him like, hey, you know, like almost like towards the end of like the show, like before, like he had like his merch line had like poured out to like go meet him at the table. And I was like, hey, Colt, I'm like, trying to find a wrestling school. Like, do you know of any place that's any good and stuff like that? And I kind of rattled off a few places that I had like researched. He's like, well, I don't know. I mean, like those places will kind of train you up a little bit, but you know, I wouldn't say they're really great schools. But I mean, like, and I was like, oh, okay. And then so I kind of like went. He's like, kind of like, sorry. And so I went back.
It's a very accurate conversation.
Yeah, and I love Cole. I'm not trying to diss him or anything like that. He's awesome. But
no.
Go back in, watch another match or two, and I'm like, I'm gonna try again. So I went back. Tried one more time, and I was like, hey, are you sure there's nowhere you can tell me to go? And he's like, well, I think maybe Matt Nix that talked about like starting something up at Pro Wrestling Tees or something like that. And I'm like, Pro Wrestling Tees is gonna have a wrestling school. I'm like, I guess that kind of makes sense. And I was like, who's Matt Nix? He's like, oh, he wrestled on the show, like he's the purple guy. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember the purple guy in the scramble. I was like, oh right. I was like, yeah, that guy, really? He's starting a wrestling school? And you were in that scramble with like it was you, Gringo, Isaias, and Bryce, and a couple other guys.
Yeah, I don't think Rob was in our match. He might have been.
Maybe.
I think maybe Craven, this dude Craven from Australia, who was like staying here at the time. If that is the match where I just randomly took a Canadian Destroyer in the middle of the match, then that was probably him.
Maybe. So I was like, okay. So I emailed Pro Wrestling Tees that night. They got back to me like 2 days later and like redirected me to you. And then I was bugging you for like 2 months about like, hey, when's the school starting?
Oh, yeah.
And then like it didn't start till like you got back to me in like October and be like, hey, I think we're gonna start up in a couple weeks here. Just waiting for like the ring had like gotten like wet or something. Like there was like a leak in the warehouse.
Yeah, there sure was.
Yeah, damn. I can't remember. I believe I'll remember all these details, but I remember the very first time like you took me to like see the ring. It was like a week or two before the classes actually started, and you're like, yeah, come over and like just check it out and stuff. So I didn't actually get in the ring or anything, but it was just DJ Z and his girlfriend at the time, and I think somebody else was like rolling around with them. Maybe you had gotten in there and started rolling around with them. It was like I forget who it was. Maybe it was Laney, but I remember like seeing the four of you guys like just rolling around and stuff like that, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm gonna do this. And some of the stuff he was doing, I was like, oh my god, I can't do this. Like, there's no way.
You're like, oh shit, that's wrestling?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. So then a week later, met Isaias for the first time. Met Bryce for the first time. Met a few other guys that like Jason Midas.
Mm-hmm.
He was part of that class. I think referee DJ was part of that class. I think that was pretty much that's the only like.
Not Dave. No, Davey.
Davey and August were there, but they were kind of like
they were training more with Bryce.
With Bryce,
yeah,
and they were kind of already with. You know how we kind of in the beginning had a little bit of a split with classes. Like
yeah,
like young Bree, like little Bree was part of that group too.
Yeah. There was like the more advanced classes. Yeah, no, I remember.
But
now.
they were definitely there in the beginning. So, but and then shortly thereafter, like the likes of like Darius Luttrell and Trevor Outlaw and few other guys like that kind of like started coming into the fold months later and stuff like that, and they kind of formed like the nucleus of like the first freelance class of like people like where we had and stuff like that. So I mean it's been cool to see like 5 years on now like where we are. We're coming up on the 10th anniversary show in June, and I mean I saw like the little like pre-show like poster for that today, and I'm like pretty hyped about it. It looks like looks like there's about to be like it's like opening like the fifth dimension gate or something like that. It looks sick. Like,
yeah, no, it's fuck. What is it? X-Men.
Yeah.
I mean, it was perfect. Like you said, just like opening the door to like the next next chapter of freelance. Not that it's gonna be anything crazy different than like current day, but it's crazy. Like that's funny that you mentioned it. Like 5 years since the school has like been started, and like. I'm like, dang, that's insane because it doesn't really feel like it's been that long, but like a lot has happened in those 5 years. Like from like starting here at Pro Wrestling Tees, moving. How many times did we move from warehouse to warehouse? Thankfully, we were given given the ring for free.
Yeah.
And didn't have to pay that much in rent when we were here, and the least that we had to do was like move around, but like. To then moving to our own building and then that being its own whole situation and like moving around there, but like finally getting situated like in the last like 2 years, I feel like, and getting the second ring and kind of just like the class is growing and just the reputation of the school has been growing. You guys, all of you guys have been doing such a great job.
I know.
Everywhere you go, all we hear back is just positive feedback from you guys. Like, freelance kids are you guys are so helpful and respectful and stuff.
It's mostly me.
Yeah.
Honestly. But I mean, yeah, it is like just like crazy to see like now like we've actually like the freelance school is like people know the Freelance Wrestling Academy now. It's like we have like a mark like on the Midwestern like indie scene, and it's like that's cool to say that like I had a small like part of that. You know what I mean? Like that little piece of like that little moment in time. So yeah, I mean like there's just been like you said the pandemic happened that shut us down for a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
we've moved like 3 times since then. I think we're moving again, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I've been away for a little while.
Yeah, I mean the our lease is up in the end of June. So I think we have until the end of July to when it's like actually up. But no, I mean I think just that might be the move right now because it's just too expensive of a location to stay in.
Yeah.
And we've got a couple places that we were like looking at, and I'm hoping that we can figure it out soon. But yeah, we're not gonna like close or anything or like go away because I think it's too important at this point to just stop. It affects a lot more lives than just like me or like a couple people. It's a lot of people and a lot of potential people.
Yeah. I mean like we had that like initial class, like that first. I've always kind of thought of like we don't have like we're not like a traditional school. And when I first signed up for the Freelance Wrestling Academy, I kind of thought it'd be like like how Lance Storm ran his academy, or like Santino Brothers, or like any of these other camps that were like 4 months long, and then like it's kind of like almost like a crash course, and like then you have a couple matches and you're on your way and stuff. But I mean like for us it's like it's a continuous like learning experience and continuous training. Like there are like steps in the process and stuff, like milestones you have to hit and stuff like that to like make it to that first match, which is I guess you could kind of say that's your to me like your first match is like your graduation to the advanced class level, because that's when you're kind of like, okay, you've got the basics down, it's time to start putting together like the next pieces together, like putting together actual matches, not just walking through a basic opening match. But I mean like with that first class we had, like like I said, with me, Trevor, Darius, you can throw Davey and August in there too, and a few other guys that aren't even here anymore. Guys like Fonzie, aka Braven Fett, who's a massive bodybuilder now, who's jacked as hell, and Jacob. Yeah. He's rested. He's looking down on us. He's not dead. His spirit is here though. Guys like that were part of like our first class. Like we had that class for like 2 years until like the pandemic happened, and then like we got a few new guys like Ezio Orlandi and Alfonso Gonzalez, and then shortly after that we got like Robbie Reeves and Stone Ambrose and Nick Kotis and guys like that, and a few other guys in between there. And everyone's path hasn't been exactly like linear. Some guys like progress faster than others. Some guys takes a little while. Like Cam's another one that's come along so much in the last year. But it's just been like so crazy to see like all the different like waves of talent that come in. Sometimes you get like in a new group of people. Like whenever I come to like the school, it's like there's like 5 new people every time I go in there, and I'm like, oh my god, like how like the school has grown so fast that like it makes sense for us to kind of like want to move into a better fit for us, because we just need like it just facilitates a better atmosphere for us to learn.
No, definitely. And that's we just bit off a little bit too much than we could chew.
Right.
Haven't said that one in a while.
Right.
As far as like space wise, like we kind of went big first,
Mm-hmm.
and then had to like get to the point where we could afford it and like figure and be comfortable. And then by the time we got to that point, it wasn't sustainable. So we were like, shit, we got to figure this out. And that's also the problem of going into business without having any business experience. So word to the wise, please do your homework and listen to people when they give you advice, I guess. Not that I didn't, but a lot of people give a lot of advice.
Yeah.
But no, it's been awesome to see like 5 years of a lot of that, all those people, all those wrestlers, all the starts of careers in that time frame. And like there are a lot of those people that you mentioned, if not all of them, are like staples of all on the actual freelance events now as well.
Exactly. And that's what I was about to say next. It's just that like we saw in like this past show that we had. Like I was able to come to the show and like be able to see everyone for the first time in almost 2 months. And I'll get to that in a moment. Talk about my injury. That's a little bit of a wild story. Just like to see like that the whole card is basically made up of like the Freelance Wrestling Academy roster now. It's like, it took like, it's just like any, like an MLB. It takes a few years like for like those prospects to like season and get ready and like mature into like, major league ready people, on the main freelance shows. So,
yeah.
I mean, like we're starting to see like those years of like investment and effort like come to fruition now. And it's like, and we're still like, we just sold out the May show and we haven't even announced a single match yet.
Yeah.
The Rumble's still happening on that show, right?
Yeah, so I guess that's technically like everyone knows that's the Rumble show. But yeah, without a single match or person
wild.
announced onto it.
And wild.
And then we have the anniversary show. Tickets go on sale tomorrow because this episode's gonna drop. Or I'm sorry, yeah, today is Wednesday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow dropping the episode. So tomorrow, if you're watching this Friday, the tickets for the 10-year anniversary show go on sale as well.
Hell yeah.
We're hoping to sell that out just as quick.
Oh my God, I can't wait. That's going to be a hype card. The last show was very hype with Mustafa Ali coming back.
That was special, man.
Dude,
the energy in that building was like buzzing. It
Yeah.
felt because, he's been around, the Chicago area.
Yeah.
This isn't his first show back, and like each one that he's done, I think he's made it special individually for those individual shows and those crowds. So that way, like if you like a lot of fans do go to all the same shows or like a lot of the same shows, they got a unique Ali experience. I feel like on every single one, and
agreed.
And I think that this one, our show at least, selfishly I will say, was the most special. But it was special to me. Just to never did I ever think that he would ever be on our show ever again. And would see him and we would still talk occasionally, like throughout his time when he was in WWE. I mean, he would come by the school quite frequently.
Mm-hmm.
But he would always joke about like, I'm probably gonna get fired in a month anyway. And then we would always just joke and be like, yeah, and then we'll just have you come back and put the belt back on you, and then
pick up right where we left off.
Yeah. But never did I think it would actually ever happen. I'm like, dude, this guy's way too talented and like, just has it so much that I'm like, there's no way that he's ever gonna step foot on independent soil ever again. And things change, things happen, but I think that how he's been able to like I want to say cultivate, but like create this like aura around him on his world tour he's doing has been incredibly fascinating. And I think that any wrestler that doesn't have to be like, if you're coming up or coming down from being on TV, like watch what he's doing and study this, because this is the blueprints and the formula of how to like really, really establish yourself and like make yourself like a draw everywhere.
Absolutely. And you know what? Like it's taken like, it's 20 years of knowledge that he has under his belt and 20 years of like experience, like being all around the world. Like just from my personal experience of like being, training with Ali and stuff like that, like he's one of the smartest people I've ever met in wrestling. Like
bar none.
He understands both like the simplest of concepts that like you'll see like pushed on WWE television, and like also like the more high level psychology level, things that he's doing now that he's got the shackles taken off of him, so to speak, from a creative standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And his in-ring freedom is so much more available to him now. I mean, and you saw that in the match, in the story that was playing out on Saturday night 2 weeks ago, or was it a week ago?
I think it was
2 weeks
2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah. Damn, time's flying by.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, yeah, I'm so grateful for that, for being able to have Ali as like someone who can be like a semi-trainer for me and stuff like that, and like at least at the advanced level and stuff like that. I mean, God, he's unbelievable. He's pushed me more than I can ever believe. He's made me do things that I didn't think I was able to do physically, and like he just like all the lucha stuff he teaches us, and like the British stuff, the intensity that he comes at us every single time, and like the intensity and effort that he expects out of all like the advanced students, like he goes at it 100%. Like
oh yeah,
we talk about it like some of us talk about it on the side, like we're always like, God, I always get an anxiety attack driving to practice because I know Ali's gonna kill us. Like,
I bet, man. I mean, why don't you think I'm not there, man?
Yeah.
I don't want to be embarrassed. No, that is like, but it's such a unique and like intense resource
it is.
at your guys' disposal, and like he's not as available as he was once was. He's a busy man. Got to put food on the table.
He's our champion. I call him our champion elect in my mind.
Well, I mean, if you watch the tape at the last show.
I think he's champion elect of freelance wrestling, but
I like that, and I mean it fits with the whole politician
right?
vibe that he's been going with. In Ali, we trust.
Indeed. Yeah, but I wish I could be training with the guys right now. I can't train with them because I'm still recovering from a broken leg injury I suffered 2 months ago to the day.
To the day.
Yeah,
oh my God.
On the 24th. Today is also my mom's 60th birthday, so happy birthday to my mom.
Shout out your mom.
Hell yeah. Mama Galway.
Happy birthday. Well, I was gonna say, how old is she?
She's 60.
Oh, she's a young lady.
She's a young woman. Okay. Unavailable.
Unavailable. Watch it. Rob.
But yeah, I've been staying at my mom's house. I'm going back to my own apartment this weekend. Finally, I'm able to like do everything by myself, and I'll be fine on my own now. So, but I've been staying with my mom for the last 2 months while my leg is healed because I broke my leg 2 months ago. I broke my femur, so that's your thigh bone. It's the biggest and hardest bone in your body to break, but I pulled it off because I'm the Irish Stallion. And I was in a match at Iron Spirit Pro. We were at the finish of the match. I was wrestling Dante Leon, who's super worker, super high flyer, and we were having like a really solid match. Like things were going really well. Literally at the finish, and he hits a swanton bomb like onto my back. He doesn't do it like while the opponent's like supine on the mat. He does it like to your back, and so kind of like as if you were taking like you've seen like a double foot stomp.
Oh yeah, you're bent over with your back flat.
Exactly.
And he comes flipping.
Exactly. So like that, like where I tried to like belly out for the bump on that, kind of like you would on the same thing on a diving foot stomp. I think he later told me to like I should have taken it slightly differently, but in any case, I tried to. I think what happened is like I was bent over. I was in a vulnerable position. And I remember like being in that spot, and like he was going up to the top. He was G'ing up the crowd and stuff, and I was like maybe in that position for like 3 seconds, and I just remember thinking like that third second, I was like, "Fuck!" Like, why do I have a bad feeling about that? I for a split second, I just felt like that nervousness started coming up in my body, and I felt him jump. I just felt the moment was about to happen, and then I didn't expect to happen. What happened next?
Oh.
He landed on my back. I think maybe he got. I don't know if I was out of position or if, maybe he landed a little like high on me or whatever. But basically, he landed on me, and I think when I tried to belly out, I think my boot got stuck in the mat, and I think like the two forces of him coming down and my boot trying to
just getting jammed for a second.
Yeah, I think those two forces kind of going in opposite directions is what broke my femur.
Ooh.
So my leg went like, I don't have my cane with me, but it's over there. But basically my leg went like, just imagine there's a transparent image, like it probably went like about that far.
Ooh.
So imagine my leg was straight here, and it's, so it probably broke like, probably like 35, 40 degrees,
Ooh.
And it happened. I rolled over, and I felt it, and I knew instantly it was broken. And I was sitting on my butt, and I was like, oh my! I just like there was a hush came over, like, oh, from the crowd, and then like they all went silent. I was screaming. And a second later, I realized like if I let the leg sit like this in that bent position, if it like I let it settle, it's gonna be worse. So I took it and kind of like an action figure you would like as a kid, like you bend the legs and shit. I just took it and went like, and I straightened it back out and like.
Oh.
Then
I can't even imagine that pain.
It was excruciating. It was every bit as excruciating as you can imagine, like breaking a bone like that. It was like I don't have the words to describe like the physical. Like I didn't go into shock, but it just went like I felt every second of that moment. I almost kind of like fought off the shock because I think I was more afraid of passing out than the pain itself.
Sure, yeah, the unknown of like, okay, I know I'm fucked.
Yeah, like
what, like, and then you like pass out and you're just like, now what? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Shit.
So, leg broke. They called off the match, even though that was the finish. Like all he had to do was just pin me. But and at first he was crawling back towards me, and he seen my leg and he seen me, like screaming, and then he like got up and he ran to the back, and he told the rest of the guys in the locker room like he just broke his fucking leg. Like it was and then everybody
he might have been gone into shock.
He went into shock, I think. And he told the rest of the locker room, and they all poured out. I told, like, they were like, what do you want us to do? I'm like, call the fucking ambulance. What do you?
Yeah.
That was like the first thing. I was like, clearly,
Please.
call the ambulance. Call them right now. And shout out Shane Boucher. I think he was the first one to, like, from what I've heard, he was the first one to call the ambulance. I'm sure there was tons of people that called the ambulance.
Oh, yeah.
But his name was brought up to me, so shout out to him. Good dude, CSW. Then told all the boys, like, tear down the bottom rope, because like I knew that they would need to get the EMTs would need to get the backboard and the stretcher out for me. Getting onto like getting the backboard put on me and shit, like that was really hard. Just because like moving my leg,
you got to move, yeah.
Moving the leg in even an inch was like, it was horrible. So, they, wrap me up, stretching me out. People are clapping like, thank you, Sean, and I was just.
You're like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah,
no,
I mean, like in that moment, that's when I started to cry. I was like, I just couldn't. That's when the shock was like, I can't believe this is happening to me. Like, are you kidding me? It was more like the denial of like how could this happen to me? And, I get stretchered out of there, and the first thing they put me on is fentanyl. Which I was like, damn. I was like, are you guys like fucking for real? And I was like kind of scared when they said that. I'm like, I'm going to get hooked on drugs.
You're like, here we go. Yeah. This is my wrestling story. This is my wrestling
origin story.
Oh, boy.
This is my dark side of the ring origin story. So, and the thing is, too, they put me on the Fenty and like, it didn't even do anything.
The Fenty? You're already on shorthand with it.
Yeah, well, if you know, you know. So, I mean... They do that, and it's like really didn't like help at all. I didn't think, at least. And then they go between that and when I get to the hospital, but they put me between two other pain medications, diluted and morphine, and they kind of like were going back and forth on those. So when I get to the hospital, like I had to shout out a few other guys, Darius Luttrell, Aaron Payne, Ezio Orlandi. Dante Leon, of course, he showed up as well. Craig Mitchell, big shout out to Craig. Craig was, one of my, one of the guys that was, watching over me like a hawk, and especially Jackson Larkin, probably my best friend in pro wrestling. Big shout out to Jackson Larkin. I mean,
shout out,
bro. He, even though he wasn't at that show, he was like, I was texting him, and he called me a bunch and stuff like that. He was mega worried. Dude, it was just a wild night, and just like getting x-rays, they had to take like this big like slab. It was like a big like iPad, and like they would have to like slide it underneath my leg and like try to move it in between my leg, and
every time they touched it, they're just
every time they touched it, I was screaming bloody murder, and like then after they were done with the x-rays and stuff, like, and I was done crying, like 2 by 2, like they would all come in, and the promoters as well as Iron Spirit, shout out to them. They also came with and wanted to check up on me, make sure I was okay. So they did a bang up job on just reacting and responding to the situation. I kind of talked about it on another podcast called the Sit Down Marks podcast. So the worst part of that night too was just getting my splint put on. That was so like a splint. If you ever jammed your finger or sprained your finger, you put a splint on your finger. It's just to hold it in place.
Yeah,
hold that joint in place, whatever. For this, they had to this is like the closest thing I ever had to like a full leg cast. So they basically took the gauze and whatever else and just holding up my leg, and I was like, I was screaming for my life, crying, scream like all the guys were there in the hallway.
They heard everything.
No, please, no. Like it sounds like I'm that's what I was saying.
I could picture it.
Like, oh my god, dude. Like, like they were like, and the thing is too is Darius saw the accident happen, so he was kind of like messed up a little bit. He said for like a week or so afterwards, he was a little shook up. And some of the other guys too were shook up, just from hearing me screaming and stuff like that, and like, because it sounded like they're chopping out my leg. But I mean, like, I wanted them to do surgery that night so bad because I just wanted them to put me under the anesthesia right then and there because I just wanted that moment of relief.
Yeah.
So bad. I just wanted to pass out. And the other worst part about that night was like having to call like my family and tell them what happened.
Yeah.
Because,
I can only imagine.
Yeah, especially my mom. Like, even though today's her birthday, I'm gonna bury her a little bit. Not just a smidge, just a smidge. Like, she was like probably the biggest, person in my life who like did not want me to become a pro wrestler. And
your mom? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Classic mom move there.
I know. Classic heel mom.
My mom was the same way.
Yeah. She was like really like upset with me when I first joined the Freelance Academy and stuff like that, and she was like, "You're gonna get hurt," and you're making like, why don't you grow up and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm gonna do what I want to do and stuff. This is what I want to do my whole life since I was 13 years old. And like, I had to give her this call, and it's like she knew before I even called her, because she knew I was calling her at like 1 a.m. and I was like, "Hey mom." She's like, "What is it?" And I was like, I'm at the hospital right now. I broke my femur. She's like, "Oh my god." Like, just like the worst phone call I've ever had to make in my life. And she's like, "I knew this would happen someday." And I'm like, "Shut up." I'm like, obviously this is gonna happen. I was like, I always told her like I'm gonna get hurt somehow, like in wrestling. Like I was like, but I always thought it was gonna be like, I might,
twist an ankle.
I might like, my shoulder might blow out, but whatever. I mean, I was never like really worried about injuries, because this is the other thing too. This is the first time I've ever been injured in my whole life. Like I've
never playing sports growing up or anything.
I played soccer, lacrosse, football as a little kid, and I played another sport in college called hurling, which is like an Irish sport. That's a lot more like physical than some of those other sports.
Is it literally just like throwing shit?
Well, it's like it's kind of hard to describe on this, but I mean, if I showed you a video, you'd be like, "Oh, okay." You have no, it's like to picture it, you have no idea.
I love that.
But it's like size of like a much bigger football field, but like you've got like a bat that's kind of like a flat paddle, and then you've got a ball that looks like a baseball, but it's more like bouncy and cork based, and then like you're kind of hitting it and whacking it like baseball, but you're kind of like the passing and fielding mechanics are like lacrosse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the crossover for you wasn't too bad.
Yeah, the crossover was good there, but that was like a very physical sport. Not to get too much on a side tangent.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
That's my whole thing. Sorry.
No worries. But I mean, all throughout those sports and stuff like that, never got hurt once. Never tore ACL, thank God. Never had a concussion. But when this is like my first major injury in my life. So I mean, like, this is like, it was a pretty traumatic one for me too, that I'm still kind of like reeling a little bit from, to be honest.
Naturally.
Yeah. So like I had surgery the next day. Felt way better after the surgery, like pain wise. That was good. They did a great job. Like luckily it was like one break, So it was what they call a spiral fracture. So it's like you ever have like a jewel chicken piece of like a chicken wings from there, and it's like how like the bone like might break a little bit, like it's kind of got that little like edge to it.
Yeah, like it's like sharper.
Yeah. That's kind of what that was in my break. Ooh. Yeah. So it wasn't like a clean like that kind of break. It was more like that kind of break.
I'm not a very squeamish person, but
really?
But bone breaks.
Because you're more dangerous than me. You've done some.
More dangerous.
Well, you've done more dangerous things in your life.
I guess I definitely probably have, but like, but it like never like, and thank God that I never really got hurt or anything. Like I've had a few concussions here and there.
Yeah.
Separated my shoulder like when I was in high school, but like, thankfully, knock on wood. Like no real bad injuries. I sprained my ankle pretty bad in the match that I had with Trevor.
Right.
Which was so dumb. I literally just stepped to go boot him, and the way I stepped, my other foot kind of like you said, your boot got stuck in
the mat. Yeah.
The tip of my shoe got stuck in the canvas, and I kind of dragged, and it just my whole body weight just came down on my ankle. And I felt it pop, and I just go, yep, just broke my ankle. Just broke my ankle. And I stood up, and I tried to put weight on it, and I thought it was straight up broken.
Oh, my God.
And so if you watch the rest of that match, I'm like hobbling, but thankfully not broken.
Was that the one with like the Christmas fight? Oh, that was great. I love that match.
It was a lot of fun. Those are always my favorite matches.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
And then, of course, Trevor, the year before, tore his ACL, like blew it just by attacking you.
Just jumping off the apron.
Maybe you deserve that, but I mean, like,
well.
No one deserves any injuries. But I mean, it's all up here. Yeah, and like Trevor hurt himself that year. The year after that, Alfonso, had rotator cuff surgery. Yeah. Then I break my leg, so I guess I was next in line for like major.
They come in threes, they say.
3 deaths. But yeah, so like.
But yeah, you called your mom that's so funny. Like you said, you're like, you're probably like stressing out. I got to call this lady. I'd be doing the exact same thing. Like, and it's just funny that like you would think that the initial reaction would not be anger, and it's like, well, I guess it's like they know you're okay because you're calling. I'd be like, that's the move next time. Is like, I'm going to have one of my friends call. What if I'm ever in the hospital for something dumb I do? I'm going to have one of my friends call and be like, he's okay.
Yeah.
He's okay. Just like, and then by the time they get there, they calm down. They're just like, okay.
Yeah, that was the thing. When she saw me the next day, because her and my dad both drove up, and like, she was like, a little still flustered and angry.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, pull it. Yeah. Bring it down.
Boom.
Yeah.
Like this?
That's the spot, yeah.
Damn, I could have been talking way better. She was flustered when she saw me, and after like 10 minutes of us kind of like a little bit arguing and stuff like that, a little bit about like, oh, you shouldn't wrestle anymore, and like I was just like looking out the window, like I wasn't like giving an answer.
Can we talk about this
later?
Not right now.
Not right now. Like, let's talk about anything else besides that question. So then she was like, like my baby and all that stuff. So I mean, she was fine. She's been my angel during this whole process. So I mean, without her, I literally would not be recovering as well as I am, because she's taken such amazing care of me. And like her, not just her support and my dad's support and my family's support in general. Like my girlfriend Raquel, my mistress Raquel. My one true love in life is gambling. She's my mistress. I gotta like set boundaries here.
You gotta set boundaries. That's very important.
Yeah. Without her and like the dude, like the overwhelming like support I got from you guys, the fans, other wrestlers, DMing me, so many people. Like I even got like pictures, like hand drawn, like colored in pictures from like little girls that were at the show.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that killed me inside. But
that's awesome though.
I did. I sent them back like a autographed 8x10 and stuff, and like that was like crazy stuff. Like it was overwhelming support. I mean, it made me feel very loved and like very supported, and I don't think I would have been able to get through that week in the hospital without them. So without everything that was, all the messages and people checking in on me like constantly, I was almost sick of it by the end, like of people like checking in on me, like,
You guys, I'm okay.
yeah, I'm gonna live. I swear to God. I don't want to like, cause I have a tendency to like to over text and stuff like that, tell people details that they don't need to know, but cause I was telling like, cause I also got like a blood clot in the hospital after the surgery.
Oh,
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. So like that was also holding me back from going home, like because my blood was like so low, and I had these like so there's hemoglobin which carries like oxygen with your blood and stuff like that to your body, and then there's a hematoma, which is when blood pools up and hardens in parts of your body. So I had that after the surgery. These are like they're common post surgery complications that happen to a lot of people. But basically, like my blood was so weak, I had to get a blood transfusion during the week.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I mean, like I was like dizzy. I also had to, and this is gonna sound gross, I had to get catheterized twice.
Whoo.
That was horrible.
Worse or not as bad as the leg break?
It was second place for sure. Second
Sorry,
place.
I don't mean to laugh. But
No, it's okay. I mean, like there were so many like medical complications that like I had never experienced in my life that like were so like, and that's what I kept trying to tell myself too, is like, there's so many horrible things going on in the world, and there's so many things that other people have gone through that are way, 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 way worse than what I went through. But like, it was definitely difficult for me because this was my first ever experience going through some of these things. Like, I was crying and screaming again, like when I was getting catheterized for the first time, because like I just could not take it. Like
I could not fucking imagine, like having to.
And you have to be, you're naked and your genitals are like shrunken from the surgery, and you can't go pee by yourself, and you got young nurses trying to stick a tube in your dick, and like you have to kind of like swallow that bit of your dignity and stuff. Be like they don't give a shit. They're just doing their job, and I didn't. That was fine. I know they're doing it, but I had to have guys do that too. The guys were actually the girls were successful first. The guys were successful second time. But I mean, yeah, it took it made me realize and appreciate not just like everything that the hospitals do, because it took like a whole team of nurses and doctors just to like treat one person, and it's like, holy fuck, like, bro, I felt like a handful for them. Also, like I think they said that like they don't see a lot of like femur fracture patients, this particular hospital, so like I was like an oddity to them.
A learning experience for them as well.
Yeah. So I mean, like my leg was swollen like a tree trunk. It looked like how I wish my leg looked if I was like I was like working out and shit,
doing squats.
Yeah, like so. That was cool, at least like for a second. But I mean, like it hurt like hell. But and then the bruising and like everything else was rough. By like the end of that week, like Saturday and stuff, I was feeling a little bit better. I was able to start doing some light physical therapy stuff. I was in a old man walker and stuff. Couldn't put any weight on my right leg. I was non-weight bearing for about a week and a half after the surgery. And then that Sunday, I kind of had to fight with the hospitalist at that hospital, like let me go, like because my blood was so weak still, but it was consistent. Like it wasn't dropping. It was just like not at the level that they wanted. So
sure, they just wanted to be cautious.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I had to like kind of argue with them to let me go, and like eventually they let me go. And I finally got to go home 8 days later after the accident happened and stuff. And I've been healing a lot better ever since that point. Every week I was getting better and better. The swelling was going down, the bruising was going away. I was regaining mobility and stuff like that, because my leg was like stiff as a board. But, I'm 8 weeks out from that surgery, 2 months to the day. And like, I'm only just now beginning to get some strength back in it. Like today I felt stronger at physical therapy when I was doing lunges and stuff like that, and it was an encouraging sign for me, like, okay, I'm going down the right path. Like it's just gonna be a long road. I still have such a long road ahead of me, and that's what I'm trying to like still tell myself every day, is just like to be patient, because like this was a crazy fucking injury, and it's just like, and when I do come back, there's no timetable on it. I don't have any clue when.
Sure.
I'll be
Yeah.
back.
No. Absolutely. Take your time.
Yeah. It's just.
And you're still young. Like you're.
Yeah.
What? 25?
Bro.
27?
No.
28?
No,
You're younger than that?
29.
Oh.
I was younger than that. No, everyone says I look younger than I am, but because I started when I was 2 weeks before my 24th birthday at the Freelance Academy. So,
I just assume everybody's like 25. Sorry.
dude, it's okay. I'm dope. Trust me. So we're part of the old game.
You're not that much younger, or you're not that much younger than I am.
Yeah. You're only in your like 33, 34.
33 currently. I
Okay.
turned 34 this year. Yeah.
Okay, that's right. You're
Yeah.
turning 34 a week before, a couple days before me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Scorpios.
No, Sagittarius.
Oh.
So yeah, that's right. Man, it's just been like 2 months out from like all this happening. It's just like, and the other thing too that was like really like tough for me, like the first like 2 weeks coming off the accident, I was kind of a little mentally scarred a little bit, and I was like, I'm okay now. Like I feel like life is back to normal.
I apologize if I'm like laughing at certain parts.
No.
I'm a horrible morbid person sometimes. So like I get through like my trauma by laughing at it and making fun of it.
That's the only way I've been able to do this is by, laughing at everything that's happened to me and just taking it in stride. Like that's why hold on. When my very first tweet, when I broke my leg, was like I tweeted out like the Fred my leg like picture from SpongeBob.
From SpongeBob?
Yeah.
Oh, that is like
that was my first tweet coming like as soon as I got my phone. As soon as I got my phone in the hospital, that was my first tweet.
when did that pop into your head that I need to do this?
Like honestly, like a couple minutes after, because I was like, that's what I said in the ring to the guys too. Like the guys were all like surrounding me and stuff like that, and I told them, I was like, guys, at least I can use like that joke now. Like and me and my brother were also gonna be like, whenever the NFL like injury music happens, we're gonna be like, his leg, his femur's broken. We're gonna just assume it's his femur, but so I mean, like, and I think I might get I don't have any tattoos, but I think if I get a tattoo, I think I'll do Fred my leg.
My leg on your leg?
On my leg, yeah.
That would be pretty good. I like that. I like interesting tattoos, I guess, or like ones with unique meanings.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good one. I like Kyle has one that's the Chicago in quotes, and I'm like, it's so good 'cause, like for the amount of people that are like I grew up
from Chicago.
Yeah. Well, like I grew up in Bridgeview, and like when we would travel, we wouldn't say like, "Oh, we're from Bridgeview." We'd be like,
right.
Or like, "Oh no, we're from Chicago." I mean, it's like 15 minutes outside of Chicago.
Right.
Like, damn near. Yeah. No tattoo. I fully endorse. I'm surprised you don't have any tattoos.
Well, the wrestling thing is tough enough for my mom and dad to accept. So I mean, like they're very anti-tattoo. They also still give like very prejudiced takes on people who have like tattoos and stuff. I'm like,
your mom probably loves me.
oh yeah, she would. She'd have some things to say about you, and a few other folks I can think of.
I gotta get her on the show. She can come.
Oh my god, she wouldn't know what to do with herself if she was on the show.
I'm gonna start interviewing moms now.
Oh yeah, get Trevor's mom on here.
Oh, Trevor's mom loves me.
Oh yeah, she likes me too. I haven't seen her in a while though.
Hope she's doing good.
Yeah. Shout out Trevor's mom.
Shout out Trevor's mom. In a non-weird way.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'm definitely open to getting tattoos and stuff like that. I just never know like what to actually get. Like I don't want to be like, there's so many like people on the south side. Like I should also mention this. I'm from the south side of Chicago, like Irish, kid, Catholic. I'm every Irish stereotype you can think of, like, short of going to, like, Alcoholics Anonymous. I mean, which I don't need. I'm already being pushed to go to Gamblers Anonymous, which I won't go.
Can't stop.
Won't stop. I got some plays for tomorrow. I was able to get Roma Dunze at 9 for plus 140 on DK. I don't know if it's still there, but I'm kind of, like, afraid now that he won't go at 9. People are saying that, the Giants are going to take him. I will kill myself if the Giants take Roma Dunze.
I still think Giants are going to take a quarterback.
I think they should.
And I hope they do.
They should. There's no point in them not taking a quarterback.
The only thing is, like Daniel Jones is owed a lot of money, and he's got how many years left on his contract? He's coming off an injury, right?
Yeah, I think ACL, or I think it was ACL.
So I mean, I don't know. Maybe they try to run it back with him one more year, and then cut their losses after that.
Yeah, maybe maybe a red shirt year for like JJ or something like that.
Yeah, or drafting somebody later on. I mean, I don't know how deep this year's quarterback class is, other than like
I keep seeing people on Twitter saying that like 6 quarterbacks are going in the first round, and like obviously there's JJ, Drake,
Penix, and
Jaden Daniels and Caleb. But Penix and Bo Nix, like I don't see them as first rounders. But if
really,
I don't think they're I think they could go. I just think there's other like areas of need for teams to take. I mean, like no offense to those two guys, but I mean they're definitely like the tier 3 quarterback, like not tier 3, tier 2 type of quarterbacks. Well, I guess Caleb's tier 1. The other, JJ, Drake, and Jaden Daniels, they're tier 2, and then I'd say Bo Nix and Penix are tier 3.
Tier 3,
yeah.
And Spencer Rattler.
And then there's Spencer Rattler. Yeah,
he'll be available in the second round.
Yeah.
I seen. It's funny that you are like, oh, like you don't see Penix specifically as a first rounder. I saw a lot of mock drafts where people were like, yeah, the Bears should take him at number 1. And I'm like, I liked watching him this year. Like,
yeah,
he was really
awesome.
good.
But he's old as hell, and he's
got bad knees.
Yeah,
he's got 2 bad knees.
And he was hurt in the national championship game. He
Yeah.
was like hobbling the whole second half.
I think I've seen a lot of mock drafts having the Raiders taking him in the first round.
I could see I could definitely see him going to the Raiders, but like, I also think the Raiders could be trading up at some point.
So?
I think they could be trading up. I think the Broncos are desperate too. I think the Broncos are very desperate. Okay, this is the other thing too I'm sad about. I was supposed to be there, right, like in Detroit for the draft.
You were going.
I was going. I asked you. I was like, "Do you want to come with me?"
Yeah.
And like, I was like, and I made plans. I bought a hotel, lost a bunch of money. I couldn't get it back.
Still there?
The room is gonna be empty.
I was gonna say, let's go. I was talking about it this week. I was like, work's not too crazy this week, but I'm like, I was talking with my wife, and I'm like, what the fuck do I need to be there for? Like, I mean, it'd be cool to be there. Like, it's a very historic.
You have to go. You one day. I went to the.
I would love to go to a draft.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like this one specifically. I was like, yeah, it's too late notice.
Mm-hmm.
But you went to the one that was here
2 years ago in Las Vegas.
Oh,
yeah.
One of my former coworkers was there as well. He just happened to be in Vegas the weekend of the draft. I don't think he went to the draft, but you went for the draft?
I went for the draft. It was like our friend's like bachelor party. It was a wild weekend. I lost a lot of money on different things.
Parlay's not hitting in Vegas.
Yeah, nothing hit in Vegas. Nothing. Especially not me.
I also lost a lot of money when I was in Vegas last time. Walking in and immediately I was like, I don't know how to play the roulette. I'm gonna like just play roulette because that looks cool. And then immediately lost like $40, and I was like,
yeah,
all right.
Also, it was bad because it was like, besides the draft, there was like no sports on that weekend, and I like wanted to go to the sports book and just like hang out there, but there was like nothing going on. It was like dead. There was like 2 NBA games, and that was it. But yeah, I'm excited for the draft tomorrow. I wish I was there. To circle back to one thing, I was gonna say, just back to like my mental scarring, and then we were like laughing about shit.
Yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say that like I'm good now. I think I'm gonna make a full recovery and stuff, and I'll be back in the ring one day, whether it's in 9 months or 10 months or 12 months. But I was thinking like the first 2 weeks, I was like, damn, like maybe like what if I can't come back from this? Like, what if I don't like get better? Like, what if that was it for me? But it's like, I think now, like now that I'm still hobbling around and I still have a cane, but I'm like, I can't. There's too many things like I still want to do.
Yeah.
There's too much I've left on the table. So like, I don't want to let things end the way that they did. There's just no way.
No, definitely. And I mean, especially like immediately after that, it's going to be hard. Like it's hard. You're like you're sitting in that moment still and just like replaying it over and over in your head. And it takes a minute for you to kind of like, I guess, just, I don't want to say like be more comfortable with the situation, but coming to terms with it and just being like, okay, it happened. Now I know what I got to do. And like, you've been doing the physical therapy and you're like, I could physically, no pun intended, physically see and feel like the results as it's happening. And so now it's like, it's almost like the deeper you get into that, the light at the end of the tunnel becomes brighter because you're like, oh shit, like this awful feeling of, darkness that I'm in because of this injury is not going to last forever.
Yeah. And there's definitely like up days and down days where it's just like, I feel like I'm progressing. Like today's been like an up day because like I was at PT, I was like, damn, I feel like my contraction's the strongest I've felt in a long time, like in my quad, and like I can feel a little bit stronger doing lunges and stuff. And like, I was like, today's an up day, I mean, like maybe tomorrow, I have PT tomorrow. Maybe it won't go so well. Maybe I'll be like, oh my God, another step backwards. But like, it's just a long, not necessarily like linear path to recovery and stuff. But I'm going to be like, the other thing that's hard is just like, when you're on the sidelines, it's like, and I'm at that last show that I was at, which was awesome to see. Like, it was such a great dose of medicine to see everybody and have everyone like be, happy to see me and stuff. But it's hard to see like everybody like just like continuing to do so good. Everyone's moving up, everyone's like getting better and stuff. It's just like, damn, like I'm going to be that much more behind when I do come back. And it's just like going to be that much more work when I do come back. But I want to get jacked as hell during this like break. For real, I want to get like so big. I mean, I'm not
going back swole as fuck. We're like, dude, what the hell?
Bro, I'm trying to become like Triple H 2002 in Madison Square Garden. Like when he came back, though, that's an awesome return. But I mean, like, I wish he could come back that jacked. But Sean Logan's got that corner of the market settled, so like he's Triple H. But yeah, I do want to. When I do come back, I want to like come back as strong as I possibly can, and like not come back too soon. So
no, definitely.
I definitely think it'll be a while, but it's got to be patient. So
that's the name of the game. Sometimes is patience. Whether it be coming back from an injury or starting a career and people maybe not being what's the word? Just like expecting too much too soon, kind of, and being like, why isn't this happening? Why am I not getting booked in these shows? Like, it's okay to be like frustrated, that's natural. But don't ever let it like bother you too much. Like patience, literally, like, you got all the time. I mean, you can, people, time is relevant, is relevant.
Are you going to roll over my contract for injury time?
Yeah, that's where I'm getting at here. I actually, when you came in at the show and I saw you, I think I was going to be like, oh yeah, you missed setup to be like a dick. And I was like, I'm sure somebody's already made that joke, or like somebody.
I was waiting for that joke. It never came though. Like I was waiting for somebody to say that, but I did help like clean up the locker room afterwards. I was, at least doing that part. So because I was like, nah, I won't go downstairs. But
oh, you didn't have to do that as well.
Yeah. No, I never mind helping out. I mean, that's never a bother. It's just awesome seeing everyone do well. But
it's good motivation. Like
it is.
For when you do come back, you're like, all right, cool. Like it's gonna be some catch up, but like, you're up for the challenge, it seems, and like that's always good. It's good to have like stuff like that too to motivate you to get better.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to get better?
Mm-hmm. I mean, especially like now that like some of these guys that we have, like, I mean, Davian August and Ruben or Coda, like some of these guys are like, they're stepping up to like a whole new level, in freelance, and it's like it's been crazy to watch these guys like grow and see them. Even though they're my peers and stuff like that, like just before I got hurt, I felt like I was starting to like kind of like get some traction and stuff like that in my in-ring skills and stuff like that, and I felt like I was having some better matches of late and stuff like that, outside of that scramble, which we won't talk about. But it's like it's just I didn't expect to hit this like roadblock when I did, but I mean, like I'm kind of glad I did in a way, just because it's kind of made me like reevaluate some things in life, and I'm like, even though it's made me like realize how much support. I also got so much support from my family too. Like we just had like a surprise party for my mom on Saturday, and everybody was like asking about like my leg and stuff, and they're more like asking like, "Can we see the break? Like, can we see it?" And I was like, "No, the video's gone. I don't need to be traumatized again."
Yeah.
Yeah. Like think if you guys like want to have a visual though, like think of, like the Sid break.
Woo.
Like honestly, that's like
Yeah,
the closest thing. Like where
That-
he jumps off the second rope and he like sticks his foot in the ground and just went like that's pretty close to like what happened. You know.
that is genuinely what I was kind of like picturing as well. And that like every time I see that clip, it just like it just gives me goosebumps.
Yeah. I wonder if it's even on YouTube anymore. I haven't seen it in years.
Who knows? It might be floating around somewhere. Maybe not on YouTube anymore because YouTube's gotten like so weird. Not weird, but like more strict with their with what they censor. But I'm sure it's on like Vimeo or something.
Yeah, Vimeo's awesome.
That's like full movies on there.
And the other thing that was kind of like been nice about like being on this break is like I've been able to like watch like Raw and SmackDown and Dynamite like consistently now for the first time like in 5 years. And like it's been like it's kind of helped like keep the interest and the passion a little bit going because it's like wrestling is like what really is. I've never stopped thinking about wrestling this whole time, even though like I was thinking, if I'm ever going to come back in the first couple weeks or whatever. Like that whole week in the hospital, the only thing that was like giving me like an ounce of like something to look forward to was like watching Raw or SmackDown or Dynamite that week. Because I was like, at least I have something to watch. And it's like, I don't remember anything from those shows particularly. Well, I do remember like The Rock on SmackDown those 2 times. But I mean, just like my brain is like just wired. No matter how much I try, like wrestling is like just 24/7 on my mind. I'm always like so interested in like the nuts and bolts of the business. And I'm like listening to all these different shows talking about numbers in the business and like, analysis and like, trying to absorb different things. Like that match that I saw with Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson on Sunday was like just unbelievable.
Life changing.
Yeah. Pretty close. I mean, like just things like that. Like, I mean, like I'm so grateful for wrestling and I'm so grateful like to have like just even like a tiny little like part of it and stuff like that, and the community can be tough sometimes, like especially on like social media, but like, and even like yesterday or today, like when that wrestling fan passed away.
The We Love Wrestling. Shout out We Love Wrestling.
Yeah, shout out him. God bless him and his family. It's really been awesome to see like the love that he's gotten and stuff like that. Like it is a great community, and it's like the guys and girls in this business, like the wrestlers and the referees and crew and stuff like that. Like it's really like an awesome like place to be and stuff like that. So like I'm so grateful for the journey I've had up to this point, and I'm really excited to see like what's to come because like even though my mom's like, oh, you should grow up and stuff like that, you should like think about like not doing this anymore, it's like I can't do that.
You can't just change the way you think, and how you feel. It's like telling water to not be wet. It's like I could try, but
I'm the wettest guy you can find. Like exactly, it's just embedded in us. I mean, like it's just, it is like kind of like an addiction that like, even though wrestling's not my whole personality, which that's what I was saying the other day on Twitter. I was like, people need to stop making this their whole personality in life. But that's an aside. But, I'll never get enough of it. Even in like the low periods of things, when things aren't so great, like I think I'll always be still like looking for more and like wanting to like get better and like things like that, like trying to have fun as best as I can. And that's what all I was trying to do. Even before I got hurt, was just trying to get better and having fun. Like I don't have crazy goals in wrestling. Like I think my biggest goals revolve around like freelance, really, just like earning the respect of my peers and like moving on up in the card as much as I can and like growing in that sense. Like and I know like if I do that, excuse me, shit.
Hell yeah,
gross. I'm such a freak. I know that if I keep doing that stuff, like more things will come out of that, so I'm not like too worried about like, I'm not tied to like, oh my God, my dream's to be the WWE champion. Like,
yeah,
I'm happy with the small wins, the small dubs.
Yeah, and I think that's important too. Like, it's important to have big goals. Like, if you do, like, no, yeah, like obviously you're not, no disrespect to anybody that wants to
Sure.
be WWE champion or something like that. Like, that's
You're psycho, but go for it.
it's a great it's an incredible goal to have.
It is.
And but like to have like goals that you're just like that you can accomplish them,
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, just being genuinely like for me, like my goals in wrestling when I started was very much like I just want to have one match. Like I just like if I have
Right.
my one match, and then then I was keeping track of every match that I had at the time too. I was like, okay, now my next goal is to hit like 50, and then like 100, and then it was like wrestle in like X amount of different states in a
Mhm.
year, and then it was wrestle outside of the country, and just progressing like that. And like to be honest, like my goal was never really to get signed or anything like that, but like honestly, I was like, I love traveling, and I was like, I'd love like Matt Cross has the most like incredible like career, I think, of any wrestler that I've ever seen. Like an incredible athlete, looks the part, anything like that, probably the dream of any television promotion, but for some reason never really got an opportunity outside of
Yeah.
like Tough Enough.
Right. I do remember that run.
But he is he's wrestled in damn near every country on this planet.
Yeah.
Like he's wrestled in the most unique locations, and like to me that is so much more valuable as like life experience, and just like experience different cultures. You're wrestling different people from different backgrounds, different styles, and just like all of that you're collecting in your life. Like, yeah, like I mean, maybe the money difference is not as great or whatever as opposed to being like signed to a guaranteed deal, but I'm sure he probably wouldn't change a thing. He'd probably be like, no, I'll take the money.
No, yeah.
Shout out Matt. I love that guy.
For sure. That's why I loved like listening to like the Art of Wrestling podcast with Colt back in the day. Like hearing his stories like just were like about like going around the world and meeting all these like insane people. Like it's like what like really inspired me in a lot of ways too. Not just become a wrestler. I was inspired before that, but that made me like kind of crystallize what I was looking for, I think, in wrestling. I think just to have like those experiences, be a part of the crazy journey, and not so much worried about like the destination. Because I mean, didn't realize, if I had known that this would be a part of the destination like 5 years ago, like would I have jumped on this train? Like I don't know, probably. But I mean, there might be more crazy injuries, and that's the other thing too. Is like, this did put like a massive like halt to my life for a period of time, and it put a big strain on my immediate family, like my mom. But like if this happened again to me, like I'd have to reconsider things again,
Yeah.
Like if it was something else, like a back injury or a neck injury, or if I, God forbid, I broke the other leg or something like that, I'd be like, okay, shit's got to change or something like that. But I mean, I don't want to think that way. I don't want to be like thinking back like 10 years from now, like, oh God, like I had a chance to keep going forward, and like, I stopped because I was like scared. There's only, you'll like this. So like lately, the last like couple nights, I've been like going crazy on like astronomy stuff, like going into like aliens and black holes and like stars and everything and stuff.
Now you're talking my language.
Yeah. Like, what's that one British guy's name? He's on every single like YouTube video.
Oh boy.
Ben something, or Ben Powers? No, that's not it. I'll get it for you in a minute when I look it up. But like just like this guy this like British scientist talking about like the theory that like maybe like our whole universe is inside of a black hole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like so like when like the Big Bang happened, like it was actually like the explosion of like the singularity of another black hole. And like also he was saying that like black holes, like they kind of like not only suck in everything and everything falls in, including light and every form of energy, but it also kind of like on the opposite side of the event horizon, like things fall out too. Like these particles fall out, and it's basically information and particles of like what previously fell in. So it's like the things like other stars and planets and things got sucked up.
Yeah.
Those particles. So it's like, are we just really like the explosion of like a black hole versus like of a singularity point versus like, some other thing. And it's like, if that's the case, and we're just one big black hole, it's like, and the other thing too that, he was talking about is like, why haven't we found aliens yet and stuff like that. And it's like, I kind of was thinking of like, whatever the paradox name is, I'm still kind of like getting fresh with all these terms and stuff like that, these different theories, but like that, like maybe we're the only civilization that like actually the only form of intelligent life in the galaxy or anything like that.
Yeah.
If we really are the only like intelligent life that's currently in existence, and like because the universe or whatever is still like forming other planets or whatever, like it just makes me more like we really only have like one life to do like all the crazy shit that we want. And it's like we're so small in the grand scheme of the universe, and it's just like,
and the fact that we even exist in the first place is like, bro, like don't fucking waste your time doing dumb shit or like not doing what you're supposed to be doing or like what you want to do. Like don't ever like stop doing stuff that you want to do because you feel like other people are telling you not to, or like, or like you're looked down on for doing it or whatever.
Right.
Like, the fact that we all exist in the first place is I don't say a miracle, but like, I mean, it is a miracle. It is like a miracle in pure definition.
Oh yeah.
Like,
wrestling's a miracle. Like shit. I mean, it's just too cool to like, life is too cool to like, stop what we're doing right now and stuff. Like our existence is so insignificant in the grand scheme of the universe, even though we all have meaning and we all matter on this planet. It's like, we want to make it count, and I want to make it count. So
that's a good way to look at things, and it's definitely like, I guess how I've been trying to look.
That's awesome. What is that?
Oh, this little guy here.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called. It's a.
Just noticed him. Sorry.
I don't remember. I was going to call it a geosphere, but that's not at all, that is not at all what it is. It is really fucking cool. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It is a gift from Jason Midas, and he was very excited that I added it to my my podcast background because it was living in my house, and it's very cool. It's very awesome to like get stoned and just stare into it because it's literally like falling into another dimension.
Yeah.
It's I don't know if you can see from all the way over there, but it's lights and mirrors and stuff. But it looks like it's just like a straight like zone.
Reminds me of the cube from Transformers. That like, remember that like
the Allspark.
The Allspark.
I love those Transformers movies.
Oh, I do. I rewatched the first one like a few months ago. Man, I forgot how much I loved like Megan Fox, and that first movie. Same as in Jennifer's Body. Like those are that's like, not even just for like the fact that she's hot, but like that's a good movie.
Yeah, no, I love those like it's like I don't want to say like a horror comedy, but it's kind of like
was a horror comedy.
Kind of like a horror comedy. There's a Slither. Have you ever seen Slither?
No.
That one, it's like an alien invasion movie, but they're like these like slug creatures, and I think there's like a guy that gets like fused with one of them or something, or he gets like it goes inside of him and it becomes like part of him. Yeah. And he like becomes like the main hub of all of them. So like they're like coming from him. And it's
nasty.
I think it's the actor who plays that one is the guy who played Merle on The Walking Dead.
Oh.
So like I always when I was watching it later on in life, I was like, it's Merle. Like, that's a good one. I think it's if I'm probably wrong, but I think it might have been directed by James Gunn.
Oh.
I think so. I could verify the information right now, actually.
I just rewatched the second like Guardians of the Galaxy movie because it was on TNT the other night. James Gunn's like a good director, man.
He's so good at written and directed by James Gunn.
Oh,
in his directorial debut.
How old is that movie? Right, what year was it made? Slugs,
2006.
2006.
Wow.
Okay,
Slither. Here's that's the poster for it.
Oh,
No. We're not watching that. It's gross. That looks okay. I don't know. I had a different vision of what the slugs were. But
Yeah, they look like literal like gross slugs.
Yeah.
But it's like a weird like horror comedy movie. But it's like
really?
about aliens and stuff. And I think I found that that's like become my favorite genre of movie is like horror comedy or horror action movies.
Horror action.
Have you seen The Pope's Exorcist? Or do you know what this is?
There's a
lot of exorcism movies.
No, I don't think I know. I think I was thinking about it at first like this other movie where like there's like this guy with like a chainsaw and he's like a dad or something like that. Or no, he's a homeless guy, hobo with a chainsaw.
Hobo with a not hobo with a shotgun. That's a different movie.
Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe it was a hobo with a shotgun.
That is a grindhouse.
Yeah,
style
it was
movie.
definitely I got the weapon wrong.
I think that was the second or third freelance show ever was hobo with a shotgun dropkick. And the poster, dude, those early posters were sick. Like they were like grindhouse style like poster like parodies and a lot of those early posters. I would love to get them reprinted and like framed on my wall because there were some pretty sweet ones. I have to edit some people out. There's some people that got canceled in the last couple of years.
That's the crazy thing too is that like the roster now is like the shows now like obviously Sunny Kiss on the last show was like a great surprise and she got a phenomenal reaction.
Huge pop.
Oh my god, true superstar.
Well deserved.
And always loved her. She was awesome. Then wish she got a better shot in AEW, but that's a different story. I was gonna say like there were so many like indie star people like on those freelance shows like in the beginning, and then like even when I first started coming to shows in 2018, like it was a lot of like Ethan Pages and like who else, like
Workhorsemen were on a lot of those shows.
Workhorsemen, Warhorse, guys like that, and like not that like I mean I feel like we've gone away from that a little bit, which is totally fine. Like those kind of stars like definitely add a lot of value when you use them in the right spot and you use them in the right match. Like we still have like guys like Leo Rush, and other folks like that like on shows sometimes. But I mean like it is cool just to like have our own like homegrown people. But yeah, like it's just weird like in those early shows, like you said, like you had so many people who are the business has changed so much from like when you started like with those shows.
Yeah,
and to see what it's grown into, it's like
I mean definitely, and it's funny like you like. At that time, I wouldn't even say like I considered not that I didn't consider those people like stars, but like to me, I was like, oh, this is just these are our guys.
Sure,
like,
they're your friends.
And yeah, and not that they weren't like working all over the place too, but they were. I guess they weren't like now. Obviously, like Ethan Page, like huge AEW and Ring of Honor star, like. And Workhorsemen, same, like being featured on TV all the time. Like they have reached the next level of wrestling, and so like to be able to have worked with them like at that level when we did is awesome, you know. But yeah, it is kind of wild looking back.
Is there anything from like those early shows like that you wish we could like bring back, like from those like, or do you think like they're just good where they are in the vacuum of time? Or like
wrestlers or just like concepts.
Wrestlers or concepts or like just things about it. Like I know we talked about this one time before, but like you know, I definitely think like they're like when I first started watching freelance shows, like they were like a little bit different like from what they are now. But I mean like I still think like the vibes are you know evolving and getting better like as time goes on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But is there anything from like that time period that you kind of wish like we still had or whatever?
Well, the first thing I'll say is I missed the Halloween Halloween Battle Royals.
Oh my god.
those were fun.
That was the first match I ever saw in freelance actually. How do you say that? That was the first dude. Castro came out I think as
was it the Three Faces of Foley?
Yes.
It like I understand like the why we stopped doing them. And they got a little too out of control. Like they were fun at first because it was like there wasn't a lot like to it.
No,
but then people started trying to do too much in them, and then it was like too many people and like
Well, yeah, the last one.
the last one. We won't talk about the last one, but if you ever get a chance, I don't know if you've ever watched it, or if anybody else online, if you want to go watch it, it's on YouTube for free. The first ever Halloween Battle Royal is undoubtedly, and I say this with 100% certainty, one of, if not my favorite match in all of freelance history, because it literally was just like. I mean, especially those days. That was like the early freelance days when we were at the Abbey, and it was literally me just throwing cards together, not knowing what I was doing for most of it. Like a lot of the main matches and stuff, we kind of had a good idea of what we were doing, but for that, I was like, I don't even know if it was my idea to do it or whatever. And I remember like Kirby, tells the story about how like. When I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this Halloween Battle Royal, and like it's gonna be like people coming out like cosplaying as like other wrestlers, and he's just like, oh okay, and he's like, yeah, he's like, no offense, he's like, I thought it was a dumb fucking idea, and I'm like, yeah, that is kind of why I wanted to do it, but like, because I'm like,
it's perfect.
I think I'm like, I just think it's Halloween, like,
yeah.
And it was a good way to get a lot of extra people on the show that like, maybe couldn't have before. And some of the people like just and I didn't give anybody any direction. I didn't say, I didn't tell people who they should be. I was just like, hey, do you want to be in it? Okay, find a wrestler that you want to be and do that. And some of them are like moderately spot on, and some of them are like pretty bad. But like the crowd at the Abbey that night was just so ready for wrestling, and I would argue at that time specifically, especially, it was like the majority of our crowd was maybe not wrestling fans or like lapsed wrestling fans, but just people that were out late night. Our show started at 10 o'clock.
That's right. Okay, well, I'm glad we changed that.
Yeah, that was that one went over with no arguments. But we started at 10 o'clock, and like people were there, they're drinking, like PBR was a sponsor, like they were just like ready to go. And then it was just like people coming out, and then it was just the biggest fucking pops ever. Like I remember Marche Rocket, I don't know if you're familiar. Local legend. He came out as The Rock. And I swear to God, that place erupted. So like we were all like, holy shit. Like people were so into it. Like, and it was literally just like people were there. They're like, we understand what this is. And like, we are just going to fully immerse ourselves in the idea that this man in front of us is now The Rock. And this guy that's in there is AAA. Well, the entirety of DX is in there now. Oh, man. Along with the Iron Sheik, along with, somebody, one of my buddies was in there as Andy Kaufman. Shout out!
Oh wow!
Shout out Steve. God, we had and it just like, and Brendan Conway.
Yes.
God bless him. He came out.
Legend.
Yes, another legend. I love Brendan. He came out as La Parka.
Oh, perfect!
And he had like almost like the Danger Mask, but it was an actual La Parka mask. But the bodysuit was like a Halloween like zip up one, or it might have been like footy pajamas, but it was a skeleton bodysuit. Yeah. And he came out with the chair and everything, and it was awesome. And we're like, it was fun. And then he goes up to do this like springboard, like the up on the ropes, stand on the top rope, bounce off of your ass, backflip, which he can do. He can do. He's deceptively very athletic for a big dude. Like he's very tall and like you would not expect him to be able to move that way. And he just he went up and ate shit on his way down and basically like powerbombed himself. Oh. And like he lands and then the mask falls off. And like and thank God he was okay. Like he was okay. Like he didn't get hurt. But goddamn, every time I watch that back, I'm just like, holy shit. And then the best thing ever because of that. So like the first two Halloween Battle Royals are like really good in my opinion.
5 stars.
5.5 stars. And in the second one, we did that show at the Chop Shop. and he started, or he didn't start, but he came out as La Parka again, and he ran the same spot, but landed it this time and did it, and like our buddy Maxwell, Mark Maxwell on
Right.
commentary, his call kills me because he's like calling back to the last one. He's like, "Yes, redemption, redemption for La Parka." Like just, and I like it only is probably hilarious to like 5 people, but every time I watch those back, and I'll be honest, I watch them back quite frequently, and it's just like one of those special moments where I'm just like, God damn, like that's so funny that like this weird little like callback angle from like I wouldn't even say like a throwaway match, but
Right.
like just like a fun warm up match for the crowd. Like, yeah, I guess I kind of miss those. Like those were fun, but like we've replaced that essentially with the Academy Project matches. Like every show now, like
Yeah.
we have like an actually good
Yeah.
warm up match for the crowd. That
They literally keep getting better and better, like every time. It's kind of crazy. Like,
it's a good problem to have.
yeah. But maybe we could talk to the powers that be and see. I'm sure you already have.
Was I'll definitely
bring it
plead my
back.
case. I
Yeah.
definitely plead my case.
Mhm.
All
All we have to do is put out one tweet. Who wants to see it? And it would blow up. I'm telling you. It's like the nuke. It's like put my finger on the button. Like,
I'll do it. It's me sweating.
yeah.
Like, do it or also do it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. I mean, I miss being able to run at the Abbey. Like, I wish.
Is it the venue gone, or is it like just? It would be kind of like a cool, like
a
secret show.
callback. Yeah. The reason we stopped running there. I don't know if you were aware. Many people probably have heard the story, but so we were scheduled to have an event there in December of 2015, I believe it was, and like a couple weeks, maybe a month, but definitely not that much time in between. The venue not burned down, but there was a fire in the venue,
Oh,
and so like it had to be closed for a while. But here's the kicker: not only was there a fire that damaged this building, but apparently in and above this bar, it was featured on I think it was featured on the first season of Bar Rescue. So shout out John Taffer for almost rescuing the Abbey. But above the bar, there's a couple like apartment buildings, units, and from what I was told, the person that lived upstairs got kicked out of their apartment or evicted, and when they were leaving, they left the bathtub on.
Oh my God.
And as you can imagine,
Holy shit.
that burst through the ceiling and just ruined
The whole infrastructure.
the rest of the venue and everything, and like and then that happened, and they never recovered. They never were able to reopen. They tried, like trying to raise money and like to renovate it. We did they used to do like a street fest on that stretch of Elston over there that we did wrestling outside in it twice. And the second time we did it was after the fire had happened, so we were able to you can use some of the venue inside as your changing area, but like don't go too far. And then like of course I'm like, oh, I gotta go see this place, and like it looked bad. I think I took pictures of it because I was like, I can't believe this is like gone. Like it was destroyed. But like since then, like the building has changed hands with ownership, and whoever owned it was like renovating it to reopen it and everything, and then the pandemic happened, so then like it just never. It's still sitting unoccupied, like just there. Looks like it's ready to go. Like I don't know how the inside of it looks, but be a crazy turn of events if I ended up like buying that bar just to run shows out of it again.
Oh my God.
But I
That would
missed
be so
that place. But because of that, like we had to like real fast like find a new spot, and we were able to like get into Bottom Lounge then.
Mm-hmm. I've been there
And-
before.
Yeah,
It's a cool place.
It's awesome. It's one of my favorite music venues in the city, and then like to be able to do shows there was like insane too. So yeah, I mean, I guess like being able to run like the older venues would be cool to like
Yeah.
to run that shit back, but who knows if the Abbey will ever return.
Man, you never know. You never say never in this business.
You never say never. That is very true. But there's something I did want to get to.
Yeah, I know you were going to get to this. I mean, I don't want to get. Let me check the score.
You gotta check the score. And for those of you that aren't aware, what we're talking about is currently the bane of our existence.
Yep.
And judging by your reaction, I'm sure
Twins beat the Sox 6-3. Sox are now 3-21. One of the worst starts in the it's the worst start in franchise history for sure.
It's
one of the worst starts in all of Major League Baseball's entire history.
And that's like over 100 years, like 120,
Oh, yeah.
20-something years.
Something like that. Like, I think baseball's been around since, like, the 1860s or 70s, I
Like-
think, in this country. Like, the MLB, I think, is, like the 1880s. I don't know. I took a class on it in college once. But, yeah, like, just a poverty franchise, you know. We deserve better as Sox fans. But, yeah, do you have any other thoughts you wanted to
I mean, like, it's
spell?
like what you said. Like, I share those same sentiments of like terrible ownership, just like doing the absolute bare minimum of like, you know, putting the least amount of effort into, you know, putting a winning team on the field. And, you know, I recognize, and I'm sure you're the same way, I recognize this, like, it's not the players' fault. Like, they're trying, you know, they want to win, but
I don't
like,
think they do.
you don't think they want to win? At this point, I mean, maybe not. I mean, I might be like, yo, let's see how bad we can get.
Yeah, I kind of want to see that myself. I literally want to see, like, can the Sox actually go like 20 and 140, like, or 142? Like, I want to see like just how bad it gets, just so like put more pressure on like Reinsdorf to like get rid of the team, or to have like. I think Pedro Grifol's going to get fired before the end of May.
Yeah,
I will say that's my hot take, is that he will get fired before the end of May.
I think
no sooner.
Definitely before the All-Star break, but like before the end of May, I could see happening. Like, what a clown! like he just says the dumbest shit sometimes, and
Dude,
I'm like,
he
bro,
pisses me off.
and I'm like, I think it's got to be like intentional, right? Like,
Yeah.
or he like at this point he knows, like, I'm just gonna say whatever the fuck I want because like this is such a shit show. Like, I'm sure his hands are tied as much, you know, with what he can do as well. But then he makes such poor decisions during the games. But and then like in his press conferences says some just
Yeah, no.
it's goddamn frustrating. And you know what? I got a message for everybody at
Oh,
home.
you do? Oh! Bang!
Where'd my headphones go?
Yeah, they're right there.
They dropped.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I freaking need that right now.
This is the message.
Sell the team.
Sell the team. We're done. We're as a fan base. We're done. I think I'm just done giving him money. In
That's what
general.
I mean. Like, some people have come up to me and been like, campfire milkshakes this summer, like when the tickets are like $5, like, and I'm like, maybe.
Yeah, I'm like,
I do want to try the milkshake, but I mean, it's like they always one stupid thing that pulls me back in. But 100% agree. Like, I want them to sell the team so goddamn badly. You can give me a shirt like that, right? You work at you work at a t-shirt shop, don't you?
oh, don't worry. I made 2.
Yeah.
There we go.
Now we're fucking talking.
Check that out. I can't wait to get my cease and desist letter in the mail from Jerry.
I got one quick Jerry story. So like not that it's like a really story, but like one of my first jobs in college was I worked at Atlantic Aviation, which was like the private terminal at Midway Airport. It's like for all like the rich people and business people and athletes and celebrities to go through the private, you know, so they just like walk out and like the jet's there. So like I would like fuel the jets. I would like, you know, with the little orange wands, like go like, you know, do the parking stuff, you know. Bro, I got good at it. But Jerry and the White Sox, they fly out of Atlantic. So what I would do every time the Sox had a road trip, we would all like the Sox would all come straight from the park, drive up, and I would go valet all of their cars. Me and a few other people, of course. But I mean, like we would all
Sure.
go valet their cars. Jerry would be there the first like 2 hours beforehand. So and he
I
would
would be there so early.
and Jerry like, he was never like really rude to me. But I mean, I've heard stories of him being rude to other people at the place. But I mean, like, he drove. He was like, this is like 2017. So like think like Miggy Cabrera era Sox.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, even though I loved Miggy. Like he drove like a 2006 Buick, like an old style. Like he's so fucking cheap,
I've got a better car than that. No, I don't.
and he never really tipped either. I'm not gonna lie, he never really tipped us. Maybe a few bucks every once in a while, but like he is truly one of the most cheap assholes that's ever existed. And like I would park his car, and he'd always have 670 to score on. So he's listening.
Oh, he's hearing.
He
it.
hears it. Like he's not like oblivious to it, So I don't know. I mean,
he just doesn't care because
he doesn't care anymore.
And like I saw somebody.
Thank you for this, by the way.
Of course,
beautiful.
I've got to spread the message. I've
Yes.
made a couple more for a couple buddies that are going to the game this weekend. I was like, well, make sure you represent. I can't sell these shirts, but he can sell the team.
Yeah, there you go.
That's how I'm getting.
We have like an underground like movement going.
Dude, it like I saw like the it was the week that Dorian was trying to get rid of those tickets.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I'll go. But then I'm like, you know what, we actually had a lot of stuff to do at work. I'm like, it might be hard for me to cut out in the middle of the day like that. Usually not a big deal, but like that week just couldn't make it happen. And then just seeing the video of that doubleheader day of like nobody there.
Like they said the announced attendance was like 10,147.
My ass.
I know, and I was like, if you subtract the 10,000, then yeah, like
there was like you could have probably counted the amount of people that were like in those rows and stuff, and I bet too they were not letting people from the upper decks come down.
Oh my god, they're the worst. The Sox are the worst for letting people like not go into like the bottom bowl.
Like fucking, wouldn't you rather like fill up the area? Like I mean, obviously, like if you want the people to buy those seats first, but like if it's like third, fourth inning, like
honestly,
just let people.
Honestly, I think I would try to like force the issue. Like if I went to a game like today, and I like bought the cheapest ticket, and like I just like went down to the bottom bowl, and someone tried to stop me, I'd be like, why? I would just be like, go ahead, I would be like, go ahead, call the security, call them, and be like, they want something to do, like
yeah, and like I'd be like, yeah, kick me out.
Yeah.
Was that what you guys want? You want the one of the few fans?
Yeah, that would be so funny, like to see like a commotion going on with like you would clearly see the commotion going on, like someone getting kicked out
because there's no one
Yeah.
there. Oh man,
maybe as well, dude, this year.
The only thing I miss about, well, I guess the going to Sox games. One of my favorite things is just every year, at least once during the summer, somebody gets into a fight in the stands.
Yeah,
And it's always near my section, and I always try to egg it on. No, but like it happens so frequently, and it's just always so funny because it's just like the dumbest arguments, and just like the people like clearly like never have been in a fight in their lives, just
Right.
throwing like the drunkest slappy punches. Like
happens a lot when I go to Bears games now. I see.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so funny. Oh, I got a bear story for you.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I mean, I've seen so many fights like recently at like Bears games. The last like 2 or 3 times I've gone, and it's always just like it's happening in the upper bowl. It's never happening like where people have like spent tons of money.
No.
It's always people that like barely had enough money to pay for a seat, and like they're wasted as hell.
Yeah.
We were like drinking in the South a lot. It was crazy. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh.
But so like so when I went to Bears Packers to end the season this year up in Lambeau. It was my first time ever going to Lambeau. And-
Right. I was
Yeah.
gonna go to that game too, and then like I was like, no, I can't do it. I'm glad I didn't.
I don't regret going. I'm glad because I'm like my experience there was so fucking awesome.
I bet the tailgate was great.
Rewind. Tailgate was great. I met a guy from Bears Twitter out there.
Oh,
for the
really?
First time, Duke Calhoun. Or he's on White Sox Twitter too. I don't know if you might have seen him. We like DM'd a little bit, and he was just like, yeah, come swing by. Like our they rented like an Airbnb house, like literally across the street from Lambeau. So we just like
Nice.
me and Castro showed up. I brought a case of Old Style, popped everyone, and
Bro.
we were walking to the stadium, just drinking in the street. And like Bears fans just like being like, Old Style, where the hell did you get an Old Style from? And I'm like, you want one? Like throw it at people and shit. But like, so we're going up there, and I'm like, the whole time I'm just like, yo, we're going into enemy territory.
I know.
Like I'm like not like nervous, but I'm like
on edge a little.
you got to be like we're kind of like
Prepared.
hyping ourselves up a little bit. I'd like slamming the beers before. I had a couple bratwursts, and I was like, I'm ready to go. And like there were some of the people at the party there that were Packers fans, and everybody was cool. Like nobody was like shit talking too much, out of the normal, you know.
Right.
And so we're like walking there, and we part with our group. One of the guys that was with us, Packer fan, this giant like refrigerator of a man, like he was huge, and he was just like he was telling me how he was bragging to me, I should say, of how good he is at being able to pee and walk at the same time. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I was like, he's like, yeah, he's like, I do it all the time. And I was like, just like pee as you're walking? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, you just straight piss your pants and walk around in that? And he's like, no. He's like, he explained to me, he's like, I unzip the hole and I pop it out and just kind of walk with a wide leg like this. And I was just like,
that's
okay. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I'd do it right now, but I'm not drunk enough. And I was like, fair enough. That's good. That's probably a good call.
That sounds like Eagles fan behavior, to be honest.
Dude.
I guess I can't put it past a Packers fan to do that.
Yeah. But so
Heathens.
So we part from our group, and we're like, all right, neither one of us have been there before. I'm like, where the hell? What gate are we going in? Looking at my phone, and just like this older gentleman, Packers fan, walks up. He's like, hey guys, like, you know, do you need any help with anything? And we're just like, oh yeah, like, do you know where this is? And he's just like, yeah, come with me. And he's just like, he like basically walked us to our gate and was just like explaining to us like random like historical facts about Lambeau and all this shit. And like, it was really cool. Like, and just every person that was in like line, or just like the people that were like the security guards checking us in, so many people there, just so unbelievably nice and like welcoming.
I don't want to hear that.
I know. And we get inside, and I go to Castro, and he's like, because I was kind of like just like had like I guess I had like a look on my face. And he's like, what's wrong? And I was like, you know what I just realized? He's like, what? I'm like, we're the bad guys. We're the assholes. We're the pieces of shit. Like everyone here, like, I don't know how many, I've been to Bears games with Bears fans be like, hey, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Piece, like, just
we're literally chanting like, Green Bay sucks. We'll be playing like the Panthers, and we'll like, Green Bay sucks. Like,
just like, I mean, and I know it's not like those, it's like the meatball fans or whatever, you know, like,
yeah, we're truly, you're born as a meatball fan in this town.
You have to be. We don't know what good is.
That's how you're first coming out of like out of the womb, like as a little meatball, and you grow into a Chicago dog.
But we had good seats. I got them like last minute too, so they weren't like, they were good seats, but they weren't expensive. They were expensive, but they weren't what they probably should have been. But we were like 7 rows off the field, like just like right in the heart of it all. Without even trying, most of our row was Bears fans, so that was cool. We had a little bit of a crew with us, but like we were obviously surrounded by Packers people, and it was real fun to just kind of be like, we got you guys on that play, like just like light jesting and stuff. I think it was more of the fact too that like at a certain point in the game it wasn't
fun anymore.
It wasn't fun. It was more of like they weren't playing good, but we also weren't playing good, and they were just playing a little bit better than we were. And like it was just enough to be like, we're not gonna be able to climb this mountain.
Yeah, that was a sad day. as a Bears fan. Very sad day because it was like you knew at that point the Justin Fields era was over for sure.
For sure.
And
Which sucks because I was at the Atlanta game the week before.
oh, you were?
Yeah, and it was
Oh.
like, this is the greatest experience of my
Right?
life. Like as a Bears fan, like I was like, I've never heard Bear down Chicago Bear that many times at a game that I've been to. Like it was surreal.
He balled that day. Justin balled that day.
He really did. And then the Falcons didn't want him.
I know. Oh my god. Well, they chose a worse option than Kirk Cousins, I think, because he's coming off the Achilles injury, and
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I guess like because it's so different nowadays. Like with
I
Achilles
know.
injuries, like that's usually a death sentence for any athlete. But you know, he's
well, I think it still is. I think Aaron Rodgers was just full of shit last year, trying to like pretend like he was going to come back, like if the Jets were in the playoffs or not, and like I was
Yeah, I
like,
don't
that was
know.
like, dude, like nobody, I don't care who you are, nobody comes back in 4 months
From an
an
Achilles?
That's wild. Unless you're John Cena.
oh my
like,
god, what from the
The
pec?
pec?
The pec, yeah.
Yeah, I just saw a video like from like on like my YouTube algorithm. Like I think he was doing an interview with like Chris Van Vliet. How are we on time, by the way?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I know feels like we've been talking for a little bit. Are we recording?
Yeah, no, I didn't record the whole thing. No,
Did we
we're
run out of tape?
we're at an hour and 48 minutes actually.
Oh damn!
So I mean, you're good. Like
Yeah,
there's no
I think
time.
I think I'll have to probably get going here soon.
no,
actually.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
As well, you can leave whenever you want. You're like,
All right.
he's like, all right, peace,
All right,
guys.
See, but like Chris Van Vliet was like asking John Cena like, how did you come back at the Royal Rumble in 2008? Which that was kind of like also like the kickoff of like my wrestling fandom. So that Rumble moment is like etched in my brain forever. He's just like, yeah, I did like physical therapy like 3 times a day for 3 months, and like I got drunk. I was just like, what the fuck, like.
I like it's. It doesn't even sound possible though.
No, it doesn't seem possible.
Oh my god, that's what you need to be doing. PT 3 times a day. You're gonna come back. Both of your legs are gonna be tree trunks.
Yeah.
You're gonna have rhino legs.
Don't spoil what's gonna happen next month at the Rumble.
Ooh. Calling his shot already.
Right.
What? Before we head out, let's talk about the Rumble show really quick.
Yes.
Betting odds on favorites to win. I know we don't necessarily have any official entries yet in the Rumble,
We don't.
but we know a few people who might be.
I can take some guesses. You know, I'd say like the early favorites. You know, I'll put a little bit of money on Kylie Ray. You know, like I think she's probably like a plus 250, plus 300 kind of person. 3-1 odds to win. Isaiah Velasquez probably isn't too far behind her, plus 350, I'd say. Craig, I think, obviously, like he won last year.
Yeah.
Put him around like plus 500 or so to repeat. And right next to him is obviously Shane Mercer. Guys like that. I think someone like Trevor Outlaw, probably like, you know, plus 6,000.
Well, Trevor specifically.
Oh wait, that's
announced
right.
today
He said that he doesn't want to be in the Rumble, right?
because of Perch. He said he's like, you know
That's
what?
right.
He goes, miss me with
No.
all that Rumble shit. He goes, you guys fucked me with Perch last year, which hey, I had nothing to do with that, bud. I swear to God, Perch. I mean, he wanted to win the title. You know,
Yeah.
he was going for the gold, and I respect that.
Yeah.
He got the better of you. Sorry.
You can't lose a title if you're the referee,
Exactly.
you know? So that would have been the ultimate, like he would have been champion like
Forever.
So
That's exciting though, and obviously the winner of the Rumble receives a title shot of the Freelance World Championship at the anniversary show as well. So big stakes.
June 26th,
June 28th,
8th. Okay.
which, funny enough, will be damn near 10 years to the day of the first Freelance show. The first
Perfect.
Freelance show was June 27th,
Okay.
2014.
Perfect.
So I was like, we got to get it as close as we can, and I was like, that's cool that we were able to like get the venue for like that day specifically. And
Yeah.
it'll be
And hopefully that's another kind of like WWE. Like WWE's on the run of like constant like sellouts. Like we're on the run of sellouts. Like I think like now this is 5 in a row, 6 in a row.
I think it's 5. I got to fact check. It sounds so pretentious. Oh, I've got to check my facts. But like it's been very good. We've been really lucky to have that support like so consistently based off of just our name, like and just the reputation of our shows and like the environment that we've created and how it's
You're
special.
a big reason for that, man. I mean, we wouldn't be here without you, boss.
I'll take
Master.
it. I'll take it. Before we get out of here, though, the end of the shows, I like to leave it open for anything that you would like to plug, promote, anything at all. The floor is yours, my friend.
All right. Well, you can follow me in my takes tomorrow on the NFL draft, which this will air tomorrow. So tonight, if you're gonna watch this in the morning, follow my takes on the NFL draft. At Sean Galway at Sean_Galway 1. I'm sorry, did I say that right? Sean_Galway 1. And then on Twitter, I'm the Sean Galway at Instagram.
On
Sorry.
Instagram, I'll have it. It'll be
Yeah.
it'll be floating on the screen too.
Floating here.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't make it float, so it'll just be there.
Honestly, could you do that like a little dance? Like
I could
float?
try.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
My editing skills are limited at the moment,
Yeah,
but
I'm really bad at plugging myself up. Obviously,
I
don't have a lot of practice at it. But I mean, and this thing too is like I was just starting to do like more promos this year and stuff like that. That was like a goal of mine for like to do more promos. I have some ideas for more promos that I'll try to do like while I'm out on the IR. Also, I wish I could do like a list of indie like I want like a big list of like all the independent wrestlers are like on the IR.
That would be interesting. I know.
Keep track of everyone who's actually hurt.
Tara Calloway out of the on East Coast. She promotes shows, wrestling with depression. Events. She's great advocate for mental health in wrestling, especially. I've known her for a long time, since the backyard days, and she's great. She's been doing a lot of work with putting together resource lists for people for wrestling stuff specifically. So that actually could be something that I could reach out to her about and being like, hey, like, is there maybe we could figure out who's all hurt and then like ways that we can help support those people as well if they're not able to work or like not even wrestle but like work their shoot jobs as well.
Yeah, I mean that'd be awesome. That's a great idea. I think that's an excellent collaboration that's possible. But yeah, again, at Sean_Galway 1 on Twitter and then the Sean Galway on Instagram. You can follow me there, hear all my takes on sports, gambling, wrestling, and life in general. So thanks so much for checking me out if you haven't met me before.
Hell yeah. Dude, thanks for coming by. Thank you for being like my third guest on here. I feel bad. I recorded with my buddy Jacob first, my wife on the second one, and we were having issues with the camera, and it destroyed the video footage from the last one. So if you haven't listened to those last 2 episodes, go back and listen to it. Shout out East Moon. Shout out my wife Nicole. We do WrestleMania predictions, and you can listen how friggin' spot on I was with a lot of my predictions as well, because I know everything apparently.
Of course, obviously. Well, I mean, you run a wrestling promotion. Why wouldn't you know like how the whole card is gonna fly?
I know everything. No, not really, but yeah, thank you for being on here as well.
Thank you so much for having me. Hopefully the people that watched got to know me a little bit and had like a little bit of fun listening. I know it was a longer show than maybe we anticipated. But
I know some people enjoy the longer ones.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people they'll hit me up after like a couple weeks when they're posted and they catch up on it. I do as well. Like with my friends' older podcasts, I would listen to them in sessions almost as well. So the longer ones are good, especially when it's good conversation. I feel like we got through a lot of good stuff. Like we said, tomorrow is the draft. Oh my god, I'm excited. Could potentially be a franchise changing moment, and I will show you this.
One of the happiest days of my life is possible tomorrow or tonight, whenever you're listening.
I am. Oh, sorry. This has been my phone background since the end of the league year.
That's actually how I kind of think of myself too.
And it's here, I'm gonna show the camera really
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
before we-
We're healing. We're just waiting.
We are. It is literally we've been healing for not just this off season, but for our entire lives.
My entire
as
life.
Fans. Like, I mean, I've literally only known of 2 good Bears teams in my like existence. Like
Yes.
the year that we went to the Super Bowl in 2018. Like those are arguably the
Yeah.
only 2 teams that I could say we were pretty good those years.
Yeah.
Every other
Same.
year, not so much.
No. Exactly.
But I will not keep you here much longer. Dude, thanks so much. I know you're not a Scorpio, but you're still cool in my book.
Thank you, brother. You were too. Love you.
Love you too.